A certain group of Americans celebrated when they saw Kaepernick fail. Those Americans didn't hate the 49ers. They hated Kaepernick. They hated what he stood for. And I'm still really confused by this whole situation. It makes no sense to me. There's a guy here who decided to take a knee and commence a silent, peaceful protest, and it was absolutely mind-numbingly enraging to Republicans. Like, he did this to protest discrimination against people of color, and what he got in return was more discrimination and hatred. I mean, it's not like he blocked traffic. He didn't damage any property. He didn't hurt anyone. He didn't even speak. He just kneeled. And so many people wanted him dead for it. And then he took most of his earnings and donated them to causes like Black Vets for Social Justice or the Center for Reproductive Rights in New York, Meals on Wheels, among many other social programs and community programs dedicated to helping those less fortunate among us. He even raised $2 million to bring aid to Somalia. And people still cheer because he can't find work. People, including our president.
It's reported that NFL owners don't want to pick him up because they don't want to get a nasty tweet from Donald Trump. Do you believe that?
Do we believe what? That we have a president congratulating himself for keeping a black man out of a job? Yeah, unfortunately that's the reality. I'm not a football expert. I'm not talking about Kaepernick's stats. I'm not talking about how fast he can run the 40. I'm just talking about the visceral reaction people had to just a good guy protesting civilly and then following up on it with actual hands-on activism, all while being black. Because on the other side, you have Bill O'Reilly, a man whose career was carrying water for the Republican propaganda machine long before Tommy Lauren even learned the words black people and thugs. A man celebrated for speaking up and giving voice to the voiceless. A man who once said this about the Kaepernick situation.
While there is social injustice and blacks have suffered in this country, most Americans deplore bias, and we have seen tremendous improvements in that area.
Yeah, tremendous improvements because of black leaders who spoke up against oppression.
To create hostility toward your own country should be put in a basket of deplorables.
The irony is that you have created an entire career out of this, Bill. Also, you mentioned historic examples right after that. Were black people free during the American Revolution? Because I don't understand that statement at all. Yeah, black soldiers fought alongside whites during World War II. How were they treated when they came back to the States? But I guess historian Bill O'Reilly is unfamiliar with the Tuskegee syphilis experiments, or maybe he's only capable of seeing the world in whitewashed blinders. I mean, how can you be so intellectually dishonest? And this isn't the first time Bill has proposed a really whitewashed take on history, like when he talked about the work conditions of the slaves who built the White House.
Slaves that worked there were well fed and had decent lodgings provided by the government.
Yeah, it's the classic I wouldn't beat my tractor if I bought it concept that racist asshats use. They're slaves, Bill, working against their will. But that's not the only racist thing Bill has said in his long career. Earlier this week, he said this about Maxine Waters.
I didn't hear a word she said. I was looking at the James Brown wig. If we have a picture of James, it's the same one.
You don't need to be a lip-tard cuck SJW to figure out that this statement is both racist and sexist. And Bill O'Reilly did apologize for it. But what I'd like to know is, what will it take for Bill O'Reilly to get fired? Like, the dude gets an $18 million salary to say things like this about black people.
But how are you going to get jobs for them? Many of them are ill-educated and have tattoos on their forehead. And I hate to be generalized about it, but it's true. If you look at all the educational statistics, how are you going to give jobs to people who aren't qualified for jobs?
I'm not trying to be a thought police or anything. I'm just showing you what this super successful celebrated political commentator has built a career on. Like when he talked about why victims of Hurricane Katrina stayed in New Orleans.
They weren't going to leave no matter what you did. They were drug addicted. They weren't going to get turned off from their source. They were thugs, whatever.
No, Bill. They couldn't leave because they were poor. But Bill understands black people. He claims he understands them, at least. He's reportedly been around them on a number of occasions. Like that time when he went to Sylvia's in Harlem.
And I couldn't get over the fact that there was no difference between Sylvia's restaurant and any other restaurant in New York City. I mean, it was exactly the same. Even though it's run by blacks, primarily black patronship, it was the same.
Here's a man who's shocked that black people can operate a restaurant the same way white people can. Like, this is Bill O'Reilly trying to reason with his audience that, wait a minute, black people are just like us. But perhaps Bill O'Reilly shows his truest colors in a recent rant where he talked about why the left want the Electoral College to be abolished.
Left wants power taken away from the white establishment. They want a profound change in the way America is run.
Yeah, America belongs to the whites, right, Bill? White power O'Reilly. So on one hand, you have Bill O'Reilly, who is celebrated for perpetuating the most antiquated racist stereotypes and rewarded with an $18 million salary. And on the other hand, you have a young black American athlete who is vilified for silently and civilly protesting against racial injustice, and he can't land even a single job offer. And look, taking down politically active black men and women has been a favored pastime of white America since Reconstruction. And the argument is always the same. You're fine now, we're all equal. Equality is even written into the law. What do you have to worry about? Except whenever discrimination is exposed, conservatives try to silence those leaders. You can call Kaepernick a shitty quarterback all you want. I'm not going to argue with that. But to celebrate his unemployment and to not speak up against oppressive assholes like Bill O'Reilly makes you a racist. But you still need to watch out, Bill, because you never know when you might slip up and say something reasonable and get honest. And that does get you shit canned. Just ask TomTom. I'm Hassan Piker. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Hassan D. Piker and on Twitter at Hassan the Hun. And this has been The Breakdown.